Mike Pachelli here. Welcome in. For this lesson, I'll be talking about the Beatles' recording of Happiness is a Warm Gun that they did in September of 1968. The song was written entirely by John Lennon in three separate writing situations. The first part he wrote was the I Need a Fix part, which he refers to as the dirty old man section. And the second part he wrote was the Mother Superior part, which he refers to as the junkie section. And the third part that he wrote was actually the intro part, She's Not a Girl, that he wrote during an acid trip with Pete Shotton, Derek Taylor, and Neil Aspinall. And those guys actually helped with some of the lyrics. And he refers to that section as the Gunman, or the 50s rock and roll satire section. George Harrison helped the band quite a bit with the different time signatures because of his knowledge of Indian music. And all four Beatles said that this was their favorite song on the White Album. Now, there was a lot of tension during the recording of the White Album. Engineer Jeff Emmerich quit during the sessions. Ringo quit for a while too. But during the actual recording of the song, all four Beatles were on the same page. Now, the finger-picking style that John plays on this song was taught to him by Donovan and or his friend Gypsy Dave while they were in India in the spring of '68 studying transcendental meditation with the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi Bear.
Hey, hey, boo-boo.
And it's the same picking pattern he uses on Dear Prudence and Julia. The song title came from an article in an American Rifle magazine that was published in May of 1968. And John just thought it was a fantastic, insane thing to say because, well, a warm gun means you just shot something. But in an interview in 1980 Playboy magazine, John admitted to the double meaning of guns and sexuality, but he denied that the song had anything to do with drugs. But John Lennon is on record saying, "It was at the beginning of my relationship with Yoko, and I was very sexually oriented then. When we weren't in the studio, we were in bed. These sexual thoughts resulted in the lines, 'When I hold you in my arms and I feel my finger on your trigger.' That bit at the end, 'shoot, shoot, bang, bang,' was instead of 'shoop, shoop, doo-wah, doo-wah.' The fact that the song was about a gun, we sang 'shoot, shoot, bang, bang.' We were cracking up when I was doing all that. You know, 'when I hold you in my arms.' Very funny." But Paul had this to say. His songs were taking on more references to heroin. Until that point, we had made rather mild, rather oblique references to pot or LSD. Now, John started to be talking about fixes and monkeys, and it was a harder terminology which the rest of us weren't into. We were disappointed that he was getting into heroin because we didn't really see how we could help him. It was a tough period for John, but often that adversity and that craziness can lead to good art, as I think it did in this case. So on September 23rd, the Beatles are at EMI Studio 2, and they do 45 takes of the rhythm track with producer Chris Thomas at the helm, because George Martin is on vacation. And they're using the usual lineup: John on electric rhythm guitar and guide vocal, George on fuzz guitar, Paul on bass, and Ringo on drums. But they decide that none of those takes are any good. So they're back in the studio September 24th, and this time they do 25 more takes. But in essence, what ends up being take 70 has to be the end of it because John had a blister on his finger from all the finger picking, and the blister broke. So they decide to use the first part up to the chorus of take 53 and splice it onto take 65. The Happiness is a part, and that'll end up being the final rhythm track. So on September 25th, the next day, Chris Thomas and Ken Scott edit those two parts together, and then they did overdubs. And the overdubs were John on lead vocal with automatic double tracking, and he also plays organ at the beginning of the song. Paul on harmony, and he added a little second bass parts here and there. He played the piano at the end section and a couple tuba notes too. George is playing a fretless guitar that I'll talk about more later on the solo. He overdubbed that, and Ringo overdubbed tambourine, some more hi-hat, and then John, Paul, and George did those background vocals. The song was mixed on September 26th by Chris Thomas, Ken Scott, and Mike Sheedy, and that mono mix, the original mono mix, is probably one of the best mixes because they really knew how to, underplay the organ and the piano and just make it more of a guitar-driven song. It was banned by the BBC due to its sexually suggestive lyrics, and it was released on November 25th, 1968 on the White Album. So that's the backstory. Let's get started. John Lennon is playing his Epiphone Casino on Happiness is a Warm Gun. I wish he would have played an acoustic because it would have been easier than playing it on this narrow neck of the Epiphone Casino, but nevertheless. And there's also, it's double tracked and there's a chorus effect on it. So don't worry if you don't get it perfect because John needed all that to make it sound perfect. I've talked about this picking pattern before in my lessons on Dear Prudence and Julia. But I think it's easiest if you think of the picking pattern in a 2-beat phrase for this song. So the first chord is A minor 7th. And what you do is you play a A and a G together. And then you play an E and an A. And you think like this. And just keep doing that until your hair starts falling out. And then the second part of it, you play a low E and a C and an E. And that figure sounds like this. So you go 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So when you put it together, you have. And charts and tabs at MikePachelli.com will make it clearer than I can say it or play it, but that's basically how you can get it under your fingers. So the chords of the song, you'll need an A minor 7th, an A minor 6th, an E minor 9, and a regular E minor, and then you'll need this D minor 6th up here. Like this. Okay? And you just follow that finger picking pattern until you get to the D minor. You don't go from the 5th string to the 6th string. You just always stay on the 5th string. So nice and slow. This is very slow. It's around 70 beats per minute. The part would sound like this. 3, 4. Right there is a measure of 2. That's the first time something odd happens measure-wise. On the D minor 6th, you play a measure of 4 and a measure of 2. And back down to the A minor. So from the D minor 6th, 3, 4. Then back down to 4/4 time on the A minor. Back up to D minor 6th, A minor. This is a straight A minor this time for the first 2 beats, and then you make it like a A2, which would be pick up the first finger and let the B note ring out. So on that measure you have back up to D minor 6, A minor. Now on this D minor 6, it's a measure of 5/4. So you have to put 1 extra beat on the D minor 6, like this. Help me out, Ringo. 3, 4. And then you're to the end. So the entire thing in time would be Okay, then you're into the next part, and in order to keep it at 70 beats per minute or close to there, you should think of this as a part in 3/8. So 3/8 notes per measure, and it would simply be on an A7. To a C, back to the A7. Then he sings. Okay, and then this part now is a measure of 9/8 and a measure of 10/8. When you could grab a pick if you want, but I kind of just like pretend I have a pick when I do this kind of part, and you play this. You play 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you're to the last part. And on the last part, it's just simple finger picking, C to A minor, to F, to G. And arpeggiating like this, back to 4/4 time. You play Then you're back to 3/8 time and play. Do that 3 times. And then back to 4/4, that same kind of arpeggiating. F minor chord. And then the last bit, more of the same arpeggiating. And ends on the C chord. Sounding better than that one. Charts and tabs at MikePachelli.com will make it a lot clearer than I can play it or say it, but that's what John Lennon did on Happiness is a Warm Gun. George Harrison is playing his Fender Sonic Blue Stratocaster on Happiness is a Warm Gun, and he's using a fuzz device and playing through, if you play through any amp, you'll probably get the sound with the right fuzz device. I'm playing it through my 64 AC30 with a fuzz face. He doesn't come in till measure 5 on that D minor 6th, and he plays the 3rd and 6th of D minor. Does a little vibrato. And then for the most part, on the D minors, he plays the root and 3rd of D minor. But he's also going to play the root 3rd and 5th of A minor, and the root 3rd, 5th, and an octave of A minor. And then he plays a full D minor 6, root 3rd, 6. And it's going to be, if I just play the part, it's going to be sound confusing, but you'll see how it fits together better in the sound alike. So let me just do you this part here when he comes in on the D minor 6th. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 1. And you saw that there was the odd measures in there, 5, 4, and gets a little odd, but hopefully you followed the chart. Okay, then comes the solo. And on the solo, I'll get to that in a minute. I got to switch guitars for that. But after the solo, we're in 3/8 time now, and George plays a part like this on that A7. So we're in 3/8. We're thinking about just eighth notes here. He plays 1, 2, 3. Then on this 9/8 to 10/8 part, which happens 3 times, he just kind of beats the crap out of an A for a minute and then plays a line like this. He goes. So again, it's just strumming 16th notes on the A, and then this line on the C chord. Then the A again, and then this G line. And there's one extra note in there which makes the 10/8 measure a little easier to play on this part. So in time, you go. Let me do that real slow for you, it might help too. Very slow. And then you're into the happiness part. And on this part, he's just playing on the and of 2 and the and of 4. Simple triads, a C triad, an A minor, an F, and a G. And that happens, that's 4 measures. So you go, well, we can go back to 4/4 time here. 2, 3, 4, 1. Now it switches to 3/8 time, and he plays on the 3rd beat, the 8th notes. So you count 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Then back to 4/4 time again, quarter notes. 1, 2. Different F minor right there. George's F minor is like that. And then after John's falsetto, George plays 3, 4. Again, charts and tabs will make it much more clear than I could say it or play it, but that's George's rhythm part on Happiness is a Warm Gun. George Harrison is playing a fretless Bartell guitar on the solo for Happiness is a Warm Gun. He called it the Mad Guitar. You don't need a fretless to get the sound pretty close. I'm using a Benedetto, and I find the EMG pickups through the fuzz face and the AC30 get the tone pretty close. So the solo goes like this. So what you want to do, it's played just on the 6th and 5th string. So 5th fret of the A string, you bend that up a whole step. Then you go to the 8th fret and bend that all the way up a whole step. And when you release that 8th fret, slide down to the 7th fret. So you get, then play this low part. Right? And then back to the 5th fret. Bend that 5th up again. Now you go from 5 to 7, and 7 you bend up a whole step and a half. Release it. So really slow. Really nasty solo, isn't it? Okay, well, I've put it all together in a sound alike so you can see how all the guitar parts fit together. So please have a look at this.
She's not a girl who misses much. Do-do-do-do-do. Oh yeah. She's well acquainted with the touch of the velvet hand, like a lizard on a window pane. The man in the crowd with the multicolored mirrors on his hobnail boots, lying with his eyes while his hands are busy working overtime. A soft impression of his wife, which he ate and donated to the National Trust. Cause I'm going down to the beach that I left uptown. I need a fix cause I'm going down. Mother Superior, jump the gun. 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 Mother Superior, jump the gun.
Well, now you've seen how all the guitar parts fit together, and that should certainly clear up the inadequacies of mine as a teacher. But if you'd like to know it even more precisely, please download the charts and tabs at mikepachelli.com. And I really appreciate your consideration in supporting my work that way. So have fun playing this great old song, because that's what playing guitar should be all about. I'm Mike Pachelli. Thanks for hanging out with me.